Before we get into this latest story, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. San José del Guaviare, Colombia's best department capital? Medellín, Bogotá, Cartagena, Santa Marta, Cali, Bucaramanga. In roughly that descending order, these are the top cities for immigrants to Colombia. As populous, fairly well-connected and relatively cosmopolitan urban centres, it's not surprising that they attract foreigners from near and far. When it comes to smaller towns, the likes of tourist-heavy Salento, San Gil and Villa de Leyva are to the fore. Outside of the aforementioned, plus perhaps about another dozen places, if immigrants settle elsewhere, it would most likely be by accident rather than by design. Or employment or a relationship brought them there against their better judgment. Now, while San José del Guaviare, like Colombia in general, has seen the number of foreign tourists grow in recent years, few seem to stick around. I'm not including Venezuelans. They're not really foreigners in Colombia, being from a país hermano, brother country, as they are. That tourism in the Guaviare department is on the up is understandable. There are some stunning sights to be seen around San José, some of which I wrote about after my first brief visit in 2018, and the town is not difficult to get to from Bogotá. Yet it's also understandable that few visitors stay longer than needs be. The town itself isn't quite in the quaint cohort. Revved up motorbikes and the coming and going of cargo trucks in the river port area mix with loud music from a stream of competing bars to ensure there's plenty of noise around the centre from dawn to early morning. Add in the stifling heat, often in the high 30s in degrees Celsius, in the heavy dusty air, and it's easy to see why many may find it a bit too much. Yes, it's on the banks of a majestic river, the Guaviare, but its murky waters aren't the most inviting for a refreshing dip. The pristine waters that run into the impressive natural wells, pozos naturales, do offer aqua relief. But located 10 kilometres from the town, they're not exactly a comfortable walkaway. And as they are inside a protected park, there's also a 10,000 Colombian peso entrance fee to access them. Okay, there are a few swimming pools in the town, but it's nice to have natural, cost-free options. Thus, why would one stay in San José del Guaviare when Colombia has so many other, more attractive alternatives? Outside of my penchant for finding delights in the drab, relishing the rough and ready, the town has what can be described as more pleasant pull factors, as I discovered after over 2 months there. For starters, as department capitals in Colombia go, it's surely one of the safest. One can wander about the place at any time, pretty much assured that nothing untoward will happen. It's virtually free of delinquents. Fair enough, the barefooted indigenous kids who enter some establishments looking for free treats can get a little annoying after a while. Not again, lads, but they're not going to pull a knife for non-compliance. I don't think they would, anyway. So while it's not unique in having friendly, helpful residents, this lack of petty crime, petty for those who don't suffer it, that is, gives it an advantage over many other big towns and cities. The reason for such lack of in-your-face crime may be due to darker forces behind the scenes, as I explained in my Pacific Puerto Asís story. Also, as a single guy, I found its women to be refreshingly free of this insidious idea that the white foreigner comes with riches to raid. What's more, that hustle and bustle of the centre and adjacent riverport area is balanced out by far quieter neighbourhoods in most other parts of the town, such as the Bello Horizonte and La Paz barrios. In terms of accommodation, it's on the cheaper end of the scale compared to the bigger department capitals. I've been told furnished studio apartments can be rented for around 600,000 pesos per month. That's roughly 120 euros. Speaking of value for money, more than satisfactory standard 2-course lunches cost between 6,000 and 9,000 pesos. The equivalent in most of Bogotá these days is about 12,000 pesos. I must note here, in similar-sized, similar-vibe Granada in the Meta department, from where I write these lines, such lunches are available for 5,000 pesos and monthly accommodation is equally, if not more cheaply priced. But Granada is not a department capital. That may play a part in pricing. Guaviare is, however, one of the 5 VAT-free departments of Colombia. The others are Amazonas, Guayanilla, Vichada and Vaupés. So, with a range of everyday products tax-exempt, one might expect the cost of living to be notably cheaper. Yes, some things are less expensive than Bogotá, but others, such as beer, are not. One explanation given to me by a tienda owner is that the VAT-free status is cancelled out by having to pay protection money, a vaccine as they call it, to the real power brokers in the region, the guerrillas, the darker forces I referred to earlier. It's generally just property owners and business people who are forced to pay this vacuna, so the likes of tenants and employees should see some benefit from the tax-free status. I noticed that motorbikes, the preferred transport option in San Jose, are in the VAT-free category. I assume it's the same for bicycles, for if I were to return for another prolonged period, I'd look into buying a bike. I figure cycling would be a great way to visit the likes of the natural wells and the town of El Retorno, 30 kilometres to the south. There are many other places to pedal to as well. The topography is fairly flat, after all, although the heat makes up for the absence of crippling climbs. I suspect this is the mental trade-off for me in San José del Guaviare, because, as I've proclaimed before, I am a fan of altitude. Yet, I do also like climates where one can dress light 24/7. It complements my minimalist outlook. Now, if you're of a more cosmopolitan composition, San Jose is unlikely to excite you, but a dull, insular backwater it is not. And since my first visit over 6 years ago, its population and urban area have grown, making it a livelier spot, for better and for worse. It's more the former. For now at least, I feel. In fact, if for some reason I had to base myself in one of Colombia's department capitals, from all those I know, San José del Guaviare would top my list. Have you subscribed to this channel yet? If not, why not do so right now? It's free and only takes a second. Thanks!